Good day to one and all. This is Dr. Sivaraman of iknowindustries.com. Hope I am audible to you. Good day, Santa. Thanks. The sound is fine. Asian session live market analysis on December 5th. As usual, on a daily basis, we are doing the Asian session live market analysis. On the fresh week, between 5 and 5:30 GMT, we will review the market and try to find out what the players intend to do during this particular week and also especially today. So to review that, we will just visit live market quote page. I have given the link for the same. I'll also focus the camera over that live market quote page. Okay. Now, Euro is currently trading around 1.3405, 1.3407, 1.3378 is the low, 1.3438 is the high, 12 positive net change. And GBP is around the psychological level 1.5600, 1.5604, 1.5589 is the low, 1.5630 is the high, 5 pips positive net change is seen. When Euro is showing 12 pips positive net change, GBP is showing only 5 pips positive net change. It indicates that the players want to gain first in the case of Euro, then later on GBP during the day. Then USDN is trading around 77.95, 77.98, 77.93 is the low, 78.10 is the high, and you find almost flat net change. So, but slightly negative. So you find that Euro, GBP and Yen are making USD weakening move. But coming to that of CHF, we find that it is trading around 92.24, 92.27, 91.98 is the and 13th positive net change is seen. You find that Euro is trading with 12 pip positive net change, CHF is trading with 13 pip positive net change. It is a contrarian move in order to gain the levels in the case of Euro CHF. As usual on a Monday, they try to gain the levels and afterwards they try to oscillate. So you find Euro CHF has already gained about 30 pips. So with 11 pip positive net change and 13 pip positive net change, you find that Euro CHF has gained 1.2666, 1.2366, 1.2370, 1.2342 is the low, 1.2371 is the high, 29 pip positive net change is seen. And last week you would have noticed that it was trading around 1.22 and then the players bought all those sellings and later on started gaining from the week beginning itself. So normally, during the week beginning, they will try to handle the crosses as well as the majors. And in normal conditions, we come across the week beginning false move. And this time around, they had done it on Friday itself. The gain and the drop after the non-farm payroll, when predominant of the traders were holding long positions in Euro and GBP after the coordinator intervention story. So the players have dropped the market and Euro and GBP especially and induced the long holders to liquidate the long for the weekend. And now they are holding around the same level with a nominal positive net change in order to gain back the levels. So this is how the market functions. So we need to understand the levels can be shown frequently by that of the players depending upon the traders' pending positions. And in the case of Canadian dollar, you find a contrarian move with regard to USD CHF. Then with regard to the commodity pairs, Canadian dollar is trading around 1.0176, 1.0180 and 1.0159 is the low, 1.0185 is the high, 16th negative net change is seen. And the Australian dollar is just showing about 2 pips positive net change and trading around 1.0215, 1.0218. 1.0189 is the low, 1.0269 is the high. Such a big spread seen in the case of Australian dollar because Australia is active during this particular time frame and it is showing about 1 pip positive net change. So you find that commodity pairs are not making the USD weakening move in a big way, but Euro and GBP have just done nominally, and they are also making that dip now. And what they intend to do during this particular day, if you see Euro GBP, it has gained the levels. Euro GBP 85.89, 85.92 are the current levels. 85.69 is the low, 86.03 is the high. 5-pip positive net change is seen. So again, handling the Euro GBP cross by gaining more level in the case of Euro, less level in the case of GBP, thereby Euro GBP is going up. With regard to the yen crosses, they are holding yen flat and gaining nominally in the case of Euro and GBP. So as a result, Euro yen and GBP yen are showing positive net change. So here you come across, for the week beginning, they are making very subdued moves to start with, and they intend to make slow gains during the day as an intentional move. Let us look into that of the expected market moves for today as well as for this particular week. Then try to relate it to our market reading, what we have done just now. During the Japanese session today, they are expected to swing and firm up Euro and GBP. So near that of the low, or when they happen to do a downward stop, and we can try to buy Euro and GBP and also USD CHF near the low, because they intend to make a contrarian move. And yen, they may just simply hold it. Probably when the spread increases between the low and the high, we can initiate entering into the market. And with regard to the commodity pairs, last week we have seen that commodity pairs were leading the rally on the upside. And quickly they have just eroded all the gains, and they have come back to that of the earlier levels. And you will come across the commodity pairs are expected to just slowly gain the levels, because last week they have been handling Aussie crosses. Wherever Aussie is in the denominator, when Aussie was gaining big, then Euro Australian dollar, GBP Australian dollar, they have been coming down because Australian dollar was gaining, which was in the denominator. Then this week they are expected to gain more levels in the case of Euro and GBP and slowly gain the levels in the case of Australian dollar. And also in the case of Canadian dollar, the dip may not be very big. They have already done that, and they are expected to slowly gain the levels as well and try to make a contrarian move of gaining USD CAD along with that of Euro and GBP. So during the European session, swing and rise moves are expected, and they could gain more levels towards the close of the European session. And then we will find that, okay, what they have done on Friday was only a false move on the downside, because a lot of traders were holding long positions. So they just made about 100, 125 pips drop, and now they are holding to gain back again those last levels. And that happened to be the weekend false move rather than week beginning false move. And they intend to gain more levels during that of the US session, but they are expected to make volatile moves. So they could create some uncertainty during the start of the US session and try to make a drop and then quickly gain the levels towards close of US session. So upward trending moves could be seen from now onwards, and carefully watch for it. And once it comes to the high set for the season, then people will say that year-end rally has commenced. So till such time they will keep quiet and they will say that Euro looks bearish and things like that. And later on they will say that it is a year-end phenomenon. The funds are trying to mop up the positions, etc. There could be so many attributes pertaining to that, and then later on you will find Euro and GBP gaining more levels during this particular month. So the dips or buy opportunities near the low set for the day, one can initiate a buy, or during a downward stop, and definitely they should be able to keep stop at entry when they gain the level to start with, and subsequently when they gain more levels you can trail the stop and book profit. And position trading opportunities prevail from now onwards, because they are expected to make the trending move. And tomorrow, 6th, you could come across that quick gain during the Japanese session and a drop during early European session, and then further rise could be seen. And 7th midweek, they are expected to make higher level consolidation with upward stop and moves. And on Thursday, they could drop during the Japanese session and through that of the European session, and start gaining the levels again on Thursday, because Thursday they could make a drop before making a rise, and this is with regard to the interest rate decisions. Then Friday, you could come across the market making more volatile moves and creating uncertainty at a higher level, but slowly they are expected to breach the season high and go above, like 1.38 in the case of Euro and 1.62 in the case of GBP. They could breach them and go above by Friday, and then week afterwards you will come across very quick gains happening. In the last week of the month you will come across aggressive gains. Then people will say it is year-end move. So I'm telling you before that, so that as and when they explain all the concepts with regard to the market moves, then invariably you find the comments come after the market moves. So you are not in a position to really participate in the market move. That is why I'm trying to give it before that, what could be the possible attributes pertaining to those moves, so that you can position yourself nicely, keep stop at entry in the buy positions, and wait for such upward rally. And the rise is expected to continue till February 2012. So don't become bearish. That's what I can suggest. Then in the case of Euro, 1.3378 is the low, which is not breached, and they are holding around that of the middle level, 1.34 area. 1.3438 is the high, which is also not breached, and any dip you can make a buy here in the case of Euro. And GBP, you know that it is a sentiment creator, and now they are showing 6 pips negative positive net change in the case of 9 pip positive net change in the case of GBP. Again, it is trading around 1.56, the psychological level, and they are expected to briefly make a downward move and make a downward stop in the case of GBP when Euro is holding in order to create the sentiment and quickly gain within 30 minutes and go above that of the high during this particular session. So stop-ins, downward stop-ins are buy opportunities in the case of GBP. Then USD CHF, 91.98 is the low, which is not breached, and 92.25 is the high. They breached the high and formed the 92.30 as the new high. They are holding it with a positive net change. When Euro is showing positive net change, don't try to sell USD CHF. They wanted to make a contrarian move of gaining Euro as well as USD CHF. Double edge effect will be seen. When Euro gains 20 pips, CHF gains 20 pips, you could see about 35 to 40 pips gain in the case of Euro CHF. So during such time, when they make the first move, don't do this. When they make the third quick rise, then probably you can shout, not in the first initial rise itself. Then USD 77.93 is the low and 78.10 is the high, and it is in a very narrow range consolidation of 17 pips. And they are not breached the low or the high, but market is holding around the low 77.95-98 of the current levels. Probably they could make a downward move in order to create the bearish sentiment in the case of USD. Then Australian dollar 1.0189 is the low, 1.0269 is the high, and they are not breached the high or the low. They are again in the middle level 1.02 area. They dip below that, one can initiate a buy, or probably 1.0189 to 1.0169 area or 59 area when they make a quick downward move. And Australian dollar, you know very well, they make little more extended downward move before making a rise. In the case of Euro, GBP, when they make about 20, 25 pips or 30 pips at times at downward stop, and they try to do about 50 to 60 pips downward stop, and in the case of Australian dollar, an extended downward stop and reverse it. And because it is trading above parity, so they find that a lot of stops below, and they try to hit the stops because of lesser volume when compared to the Euro and GBP. And Canadian dollar 1.0159 is the low, 1.0185 is the high. They are not breached the high or the low. Again, they are staying in the middle level, 1.0175 area with 70 pips negative net change. So Canadian dollar As usual, they could make a downward stopper and then make an upward stopper during the day. So let me minimize the PowerPoint presentation and focus the camera over the WLI market code page and try to answer to the questions which are asked here. Okay. Vinay has got a question. Should we compare the bid and the ask price with the initial low and the high? Yes. So whenever the market is in the middle level, you can understand whether it is closer to the high or closer to the low. Always try to compare it from time to time. Then we'll be able to understand, okay, the spread between the low and the high is hardly about 50 pips. So they are only making a move in a range of 50 pips. So what best trade we can do by taking a middle level position? Nothing can happen. So when they come closer to the other low, you watch and try to take. I given the timings for that. So normally during session start and session close time, they come closer to high, closer to low, etc. During that time, try to take position. Instead of opening a platform and try to see that euro is making a small dip when at a buy, then wait for about 5-6 hours, you lose patience. So instead, you try to watch the market for several hours, and whenever during session start and session close time, when they make active moves or quick moves, then try to participate in the market. So always try to see that when they are near the low, not breach the low, or after forming a new low, they are not breached it for 10 to 30 minutes, they can enter long position. Because the trend is upward, it may not appear like that after seeing Friday drop. You might see that further drop could happen, but the players are actually holding long positions and they booked a profit on Friday after gaining the levels before non-farm payroll, and then later on they just dropped and bought it again after 100 pips drop. So they do this sort of churning, just gain the levels and book profit and drop again and participate, so that they will be able to take less position and gain more levels from the other market. Then FXM, non-farm payroll. I don't know what this question is, but yeah. What about Australian dollar move? Australian dollar could make lesser gains today when compared to the euro and GBP. We can see that the gain in the case of Australian dollar is about 4 pips positive net change, whereas GBP is 6 pips and euro is 12 pips. So these net changes indicate that if we carefully do that, we'll be able to perceive the market in a very excellent way. But you are more glued to the chart, so this is distraction, whereas the charts are the real distractions for the traders, because the charts gets compressed whenever the big moves happen. When the small swings happen and the consolidation happen, automatically the chart gets widened. Then you find the big candles are formed, but the big red candle or the green candle might be formed for about 5 to 10 pips, but when it is magnified, it looks very big and create the excitement for you. So avoid that. See the practical levels in the market. Then Francisco, if long euro, can we take profit tomorrow and buy again after some drop? Yes, we can do that. Then FXM, please explain market moves for today. I explained the market move that they are expected to swing and rise during that of the Japanese session. Towards close of Japanese session, they are expected to gain the level. Before that, they could make a small dip around 6 GMT. You know that before a rise, always they make a dip. Before the drop, they always make an upward stop. So it is a bouncing ball effect. So if you participate during such a dip without any fear, then you will be able to see quick profit. So in order to avoid getting afraid or feel that, okay, you are trying to buy at the higher level, try to keep stop at entry. so that your fear is eliminated, because if you are stopped out, you will be shown even a better lower level to enter the market again. So if you become possessive of the position, then you avoid keeping stop at entry or using a trailing stop. Then when it makes loss, you are not in a position to withstand because it takes away your usable margin. So instead, once a position is taken, try to see that you are able to keep stop at entry as soon as possible when it makes about 15, 25 or 30 pips profit. And in the event, if you are taken a buy position and the market is not showing profit for 2 hours, then you simply close the position or hedge it. Because when they are not showing profit in your position for 2 hours, that means you are on the wrong side of the market. Be objective with regard to the market move understanding. Then you will be able to really make profitable trades. Then Shan. Euro CHF, can we expect it to go above 1.25 this week? Yes, it's very likely because the way in which they have done the move. But after the gains, don't buy. When they make a small dip, again, you try to buy or probably keep about 10 to 15 pips below that of the current level, buy limit order and keep hedging order of 50 pips in the case of crosses. So once the position makes profit, try to keep stop at entry. It's simple. Then TY, does gap time make the best time to set up trades during each session? You can do it during the trending time. During trend reversal times, they may continue the move during what they have done it during the gap time. During trend reversal, from now till third week of December, you can always use the gap time false move. So when they drop during gap time buy, when they rise during gap time sell, then you will be able to book profit in first 30 minutes, about 25 to 30 pips or sometimes 40 pips profit. Then David. What is psychological level? The round numbers are the psychological levels. Because psychologically, people tend to look for the round numbers. Rather than remembering a number 1.3403, people used to say 1.34 area, 1.3425 area, 1.3450 area. So they are all round numbers. They are all called as psychological numbers. Psychologically, human beings tend to remember those numbers very easily when compared to the odd numbers like 1.5598 or 77.94. Instead, you can say that, can euro go to 1.535 area? Can euro go to 1.33 area? That is a round number. Every 25 pips rise or the drop is a round number from that of the 00 level. 1.3400 is one psychological level. 1.3375 is another psychological number. They always try to test those psychological levels. Then the next psychological level 1.3350, then 1.3325, then 1.3300. On the upside also, every 25 pips are considered as psychological numbers. But some people call only these 50s and 100s as psychological numbers, but the players use 25 pips as a psychological number, like 75, 50, 25, 00 as psychological numbers, because they try to find out where the cluster stops or below the psychological numbers. 1.3375 is a psychological number. If there are more of a buy order, then they just stop above that. If there are more of a sell orders, they try to hit the stops, come up to 3367, then go up. That is the main reason you find always these lows and the highs set for the day as prime numbers. That is to hit the stops of the psychological numbers. Then shirt. Long-term forecast, year and time. So we have another 4 weeks to go in this month of December. Just we are in the early part of December. So you will come across less drop and more gain moves expected to happen in this particular month, and that could continue aggressively during January, the month of January for the new year, and that they will try to do it in order to attract more buy orders. So when they quickly gain to 1.49 or 45 and things like that, and immediately people will find that, okay, 1.42 is the support or 1.44 is the support and try to buy. Then they try to dip, drop, induce them to liquidate the long position, then continue the rise. So it is a game. So they try to make gains consistently and induce the bullish feel in the market, but they were sellers at that time. And similarly, they drop and create the bearish feel in the market, but they are buyers at that time. So this is a simple psychology. They try to use it, but we find it extremely difficult to identify it. Then Euro and GBP are expected to gain levels for the year and time. USD CHF and USD are expected to gain levels as well. Yeah, they are expected to make the contrarian moves like how they are gaining the levels in the case of Euro as well as USD CHF. So when say Euro is gaining about 10 pips, CHF USD yen is not making 10 pips drop. Hope you are able to understand. So that is how when Euro and GBP are gaining, they might make lesser drop in the case of USD yen and USD CHF because they are all reversing from that of the multi-year lows. So they may make less drop and contrarian gains will happen. USD CAD and Australian dollar are expected to make more USD gaining moves. Yes, the Canadian dollar and the Australian dollar are not expected to participate in that of the USD weakening move consistently during this particular time frame. They may make initially some USD gaining move, USD weakening move, followed by that you will come across USD gaining move coming in. And you know that commodity pairs lead the rally and lag behind. Last week they led the rally, and slowly you will find they are non-participants in the market. You just watch and tell me. Then here, can you explain Australian dollar move different from Euro and GBP? Yes. And if you see that Australian dollar has become flat. Now 000, whereas Euro is holding about 10 pips positive unit change, GBP is holding about 2 pips positive unit change, and the Canadian dollar has dropped about 14 pips, whereas Australian dollar is flat. So this is how they are expected to make the move because they have to handle the cross as well. So don't think that Australian dollar looks more promising. Last week it was looking more promising to gain more profit, but this week when you think Australian dollar is a good pair to trade, it may look sluggish. Okay, that is what I have given in my blog, the highlights, the year-end move, because every time you find during the year-end, people are asking about what could happen to Euro and GBP, where exactly Euro could close, GBP could close for the year-end. So that's what I just given in the blog, whether it is going to be an uptrend for the month of December and year-end or a downtrend. So that's what I have given for the individual currencies, their respective trends for this particular month, so that it can give a clarity for the people, and also they can see consistently on a daily basis and see whether they are really approaching those levels, and also are they making the sort of moves. And rather, Euro Yen is expected to rise this week, yes, and USD Yen is expected to make a contrarian move. So as a result, Euro Yen and GBP Yen are expected to gain levels. Then Shan, is Australian dollar likely to go below parity this week? Not this week. Then probably next month it will go. Before that they will try to handle it here, because they want to start the new year above the parity and then start making the slide. See, if you see the extreme moves happen during the month beginning time and the month end time. And month beginning time, Australian dollar came down very drastically. Then afterwards they gained the levels, and this is how they have to play in the market. simply taking it to parity, in one go and just hold it there. That is not the objective. And they wanted to create the bearish field and buy from the other traders and gain nicely so that everybody look into that other chart and say that, okay, it has moved above that of 3 days moving average and 100 days moving average and try to buy, then afterwards drop it. Every time I'm repeating the same, it might look that I am contradicting all the other statistical aspects, but the players do the same. So what do? I have to explain what they are trying to do it in a cunning way. Then Tim, what is the level for euro today? Euro could go to 1.35 area today. For positional trading, should one not wait for a downward stop? Yes, one should wait for a downward stop in this particular week and then try to take. And you may not be able to catch all the position at one level. The best thing is whenever they make a downward stop and if you are doing position trade, spread the risk. Suppose you have got the capacity to take about 5 mini lots, then take 1 mini lot at a time and try to keep stop at entry. And when they drop further quickly down, then take another mini lot and try to keep stop at entry. If they are stopped out, then the third one. If they drop, you try to take it. And once that is not stopped out, you keep stop at entry, then start buying more around those levels. And if you do that, you'll be able to really find very good profit rather than trying to understand sophisticated or complicated statistical analysis and see that the market does not respect all those things. Instead, you can do it with the help of your positions and spread the risk so that the reward will also be spread very nicely for you. And also try to diversify the risk. So diversification, instead of betting all the money in one currency, you spread it to that of the majors and the crosses. You have to plan it very well. How much positions I can take at a given time for this equity. When the market moves against me about 500 pips, then you have to plan how exactly in each you can take about 2-3 mini lots. So that way if you spread it, even though you have only about $10,000 to $20,000 as the usable margin, still you will be able to see that some positions making profit, just put the profit and re-enter in some other currencies. So identify the currencies at a given time based on the type of market moves they make. You should be able to really do well. But only thing is you have to be participative in the market. And many of the people, they are not participative in the market moves. That is why they struggle. They always ask somebody to participate. It is something like asking someone else to eat for your energy. So until such time, you develop the insight by yourself. It's very difficult. You will find it extremely difficult to earn money. But once you develop the market insight perfectly, then you will really find it as a child's play. Trading is a child's play. Then Phoenix, lower levels for euro and GBP for trade. Yeah, they may make a brief downward stopper in the case of GBP, may not in euro, or sometimes what they do is they do during the Japanese session GBP downward stopping, during the European session euro downward stopping in order to reverse euro GBP cross. So if they make downward stopping, try to buy. That's what I can suggest. It is my suggestion, but still the element of risk is there in trading. So you have to use the trading strategy to limit the risk and maximize the profit. Let me go back to the PowerPoint presentation. So expected market moves, swing in form of moves are expected during Japanese session. So around 6 GMT, they could make a brief dip closer to low or make a downward stop of about 10-20 pips, or sometimes 1 pip, 2 pip also they do it. Depends upon the cluster of stops as well as the limit orders lying there. So if the limit orders are more, then they try to avoid dipping. Okay. Then European session swing and rise. And volatile moves are expected during the US session. A quick drop and a quick rise are expected during the US session. So, but when you try to buy during the downward shot, then you may not be hit during the US session. That's what I perceive. So uptrend is expected to happen from now on, and it will become visible uptrend from weekend. So with regard to the initial lows and the highs, they are not breached below the high in the case of Euro, GBP, Yen, and also USD CHF. They just breached the high by 5 pips in the case of USD CHF, and they are holding around that of the low. Then Yen, they are not done it, and Australian dollar, they are not done the breach, and Canadian dollar also, they are not breached the low or the high. So they are simply holding it at the moment, and around 6:30 GMT, they could make a downward move and then gain up to 7:30 GMT. So during such late sessions, you can participate in the market, taking buy position in all currencies when they make a downward stop. Okay, I take this opportunity to thank FX Street and also you people who have come here to listen to my talk. And I wish you very happy trading during this particular week and the month. And try to calmly watch the market for several hours and try to participate whenever quick moves happen in the market, and profit will be assured for you. Thank you one and all. See you tomorrow.